As a facilitative trainer, we need to be flexible. We need to be able to adjust on the spot to meet our learners' ever-changing needs. In order to do this, we need to build a toolbox full of techniques that we can use for a variety of situations and challenges that we will face when we deliver training. But how exactly do we develop this toolbox? Well, that's one of the questions that set me on a journey of over 6 years of researching and experimenting, with the outcome being where we are today on how to design and deliver practical training. One of the things I'll discuss at this point in time is a framework I designed called the 5 elements of delivery. These 5 elements of delivery framework breaks training down into 5 different focus areas. And at any moment in your training, you are going to be doing at least one and probably several of these all at the same time. These elements are priming, guiding, practicing, reflecting, and commitment. This course is designed using this framework to provide you with the tools to help you with each of these different elements. So let's go through these one by one to see what these elements are, what we need for them, and how this course will help us develop each of these elements. And the very first element is priming. So priming is where we help learners get ready to learn, because not everyone is in the right mindset to learn, especially at the beginning of the session when they first get into the training room. We need to help our learners relax and engage in order to get the most from their training. And in my opinion, priming is probably the most important element. It's something you're always going to have to do. You're especially going to need to spend a lot of time in this at the beginning of a session. And you need to come back to it over and over again to get your learners back into the right state for learning. And so in this course, we will learn how to help people relax, manage the environment, both physical classrooms and virtual training environments, start the training in the right way, read the room so you can respond to your learners when their mood changes, and prevent and manage disruptive behavior. The next element is guiding. And this is where we prepare learners to practice and reflect correctly. So this is typically the element of training where we, the facilitator, will do the most talking. Typically, less experienced trainers spend a lot of time lecturing here, but we want to get out of the lecture mode and take advantage of other techniques we can use to help our learners understand. We also want to make sure we don't spend too long on this, because this isn't where the main learning happens. The main learning happens in the practicing and reflecting elements of our training, which will be coming up after guiding. So guiding is just to get our learners ready to practice and reflect. And so in this course, we'll learn how to engage people throughout this process and how to get away from lecturing and instead start teaching through questions, which is really effective way of getting people to reflect more throughout your training. We'll also learn how to build context when giving explanations, how to use analogies and metaphors, which are really useful tools for explaining new concepts. Very, very quickly, we'll learn how to break the curse of knowledge, which is something that happens when we know something so well that it becomes really challenging to explain to other people. And we'll also learn how to build a story pool so that we have a good pool of stories, examples, anecdotes, explanations, and so on that we can pull out at any moment from our mind to help our learners understand what we are talking about. After guiding, we are going to focus on practicing. And this is where learners start to develop new behaviors. And that's the purpose of practicing, to help plan and start building new behaviors. This is a really important element for learning. And if we're helping our learners to develop new skills, then it is essential that our training has a practicing component. And so, for this element, we will learn how to describe and model, which is a really essential skill for setting up practice activities to make sure people know how to follow instructions. We'll also learn how to supervise and correct, which is your main responsibility when your learners are practicing. And also, we'll look at how to give feed forward and feedback. And we'll learn the difference between these two and how to give them really effectively to help our learners improve. The next element is reflecting. The purpose of reflecting is to help our learners refine and master new behaviors. So if you think of practice as physical practice, think of reflecting as mental practice. This is where learners adjust their mindsets and form new mental connections that help to store things in their memory so that they can access their new knowledge from their memory later on when they are back at work. So, for this, we will learn how to optimize their learning, and here we will look at how people really learn and what kind of theories we should avoid listening to, because there are a lot of theories about how people learn, but also a lot of those theories have not been proven by science. So we need to be careful what we pay attention to. We'll also learn how to choose reflection questions to really help our learners reflect deeply and in the right way. We'll also learn how to structure reflection activities, and typically, reflection activities are discussion activities. And sometimes discussion activities can be challenging to run because not everyone participates or follows the process correctly. So we'll look at how to structure these activities effectively. And we'll look at how to involve everyone in the discussion so that we don't just have the chatty ones talking and the quiet ones keeping quiet. We'll look at a technique we can use to easily engage and involve everyone throughout the discussion. For the final element, this is committing. And this is an essential element that doesn't get enough attention from most trainers, in my opinion. This is where we help our learners reflect on everything they've learned from their training and then start planning to apply their new learning back at work. And so for this, we will learn how to overcome the barriers to behavior change, and also how to optimize their commitment for post-training application. Because an important thing to remember here is that the success of our training is out of our hands. Our training is only a success if after the training, our learners apply what they've learned back at work and change their behavior and achieve results. And so in order to do that, we want to help them filter through everything that they have learned in the training and find what they have the strongest commitment for applying. And this way, we can increase the chances of our training being successful. So in summary, the 5 elements are priming, guiding, practicing, reflecting, and committing. And this course is based on these 5 elements and is designed to help you as a facilitator build up your facilitator's toolbox so that you can adapt to your learners' needs on the spot and deliver your training with the full flexibility that you need to ensure your training is effective.